Já cá estamos para mais cultura e mais coisas cool, como a 34ª edição do Jerusalém Film Festival. E para uma indústria de cinema crescer desta maneira, deve ter, com certeza, estratégias assertivas. Grandes responsáveis internacionais desta área vão-nos fazer entender melhor uma metodologia para uma indústria cinematográfica de sucesso.
When a country wants to build up a cinema industry, it's important to invest in producers. I think it's important to invest in producers, and it's important to talk with producers to see, okay, they need money to make films, but they also need money to develop film.
The first thing is script writing, and to teach the people how to tell stories, not only written stories, but stories that there's no talking, but a lot of action on the screen. You know Charlie Chaplin? So Charlie Chaplin said, action speaks louder than words. If you have action on screen, it's much more exciting than talking pa 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 pa.
You have to be sure to have an audience, because otherwise you'll have content but no one wants to look at it because no one is aware that content exists.
I think first you need to think about your filmmakers and your audience, and that's the main two things you need to think about. What does your local audience want to see? What stories do your local filmmakers want to tell? It doesn't take a lot of money. You know, you can make a film for £500 shooting it on an iPhone. You can do that. It's about passion for, I think, the stories, especially stories you can't see anywhere else. Don't try to be Hollywood. Don't try to make Spider-Man. Make your local stories, and hopefully your local audience will really appreciate that. You don't even have to have fancy cinemas. You can show it in a local town hall. It's about just getting that audience to see the film and that dialogue between the filmmakers and the audience, I think.
It starts with realizing that culture is very important for any country. For your economic growth, for education, for being proud of your own territory. Culture is where it starts. Art is important. Art defines your culture, defines your nation, your people, your openness. And once you say that, then you say, let's invest in those institutions that can help it grow, including film.
I think a few steps. Well, you have your filmmaker community. They're important. There are people who want to make movies, right? So that's number one. Otherwise, what are we talking about? Second, you need a minister of culture. You have a ministry of culture. They should give some money to a group of people that create like a fund. And the fund is going to look at projects that the filmmakers are going to make, to write, propose, like here, like short synopsis and ideas how they want to make it, and then they have to divide like equally, like nicely, the money to all of them, and that's the beginning. And then you hire me and I help you do the rest.
First of all, we had to do a tremendous amount of lobbying with the government. We managed to get quite a reasonable budget for public funding. A heavy part of the Israeli cinema is based on the public funding by the film funds. We also have the obligation of the broadcasters here in Israel that they have to invest in the local productions and so on. But also because of the power of the stories and the talent of the directors and also the skills of the producers, a lot of people from all over the world, as you see, they come here to look for new projects, new cinema, very strong, very daring, very straight to the face, that is so much part of the Israeli cinema.
O Pitch Point é um fórum onde os cineastas apresentam os seus projetos a uma senhora plateia, composta por editores de comissão, distribuidores, agentes de vendas, diretores de fundos para filmes, produtoras líder, europeias e norte-americanas, e discutem a possibilidade de se tornarem coproduções. Muito interessante. Vamos espreitar um pouco?
This is a kind of an opportunity and a platform for many people from all over the world to really identify and trace talent and stories.
When we started the fund, the film fund, which I direct in Jerusalem, very little film was done in Jerusalem. Only 5% of Israel's film productions were done in Jerusalem. and we wanted to grow that. So right now it's more than 30% of Israel's filmmaking, and the best films ever are done in Jerusalem. And we also are the only place in Israel where you can get incentives and support for international productions.
You send your project and you are selected, like in a festival, and they select your project, and then you can pitch, like here, your project, and then hopefully you find people who are interested to put some money in your project. And that's what we then call a co-production. So then two countries get into a relationship that they say, okay, I want to invest in your project, and then you're going to have some more money.
In Israel, the national funds can do international co-productions only if there's a co-production treaty between two countries. But our fund, we don't need co-production treaties. The producer can be from all over the world, any country. As long as we like the film, he comes and produces in Jerusalem, and we pay him back 60% of what he spent in Jerusalem. So if you spend $1 million, we write down a check of $600,000 to give it to you. And it's Natalie Portman did a film here, and Richard Gere did a film here, and it's growing excellent.
Place that will lead us into the future.
Is it really going to be an animation film?
Hopefully. I mean, we started working at it. We've seen the presentation. Now we just have to wrap it up.
The big challenge is to produce this movie, The Milk.
To have it financed, first of all.
Yeah, we need more money. We raised some, but it's not enough. It's never enough.
It's challenging like to make any other film, but I really trust Maya. So it's like, you know, I think like once you really trust the director and believe in the project, then all the challenges are, you know, don't seem so frightening anymore.
I can only say it's a very interesting mix, very exciting projects, and I cannot wait to have one-on-one meetings this afternoon to get a little bit more into detail about all the projects and to come together with the jury tomorrow to decide about the prizes. It will be very interesting.
We're here in a jury that is basically judging the pitches. So it's not only, I would say, about the content and what is the movie about, but also the way the producer and the director are pitching the projects.
Cool for me is exciting as an actor and as a filmmaker. Very cool. Very, very cool.
Elementos extremamente importantes no Festival de Cinema são os críticos de cinema. O Jerusalém Press Club fez o convite, preparou o programa, recebeu a equipa e nós vamos perceber de que forma os críticos analisam os filmes.
I thought back when I started this press club that it would be nice to bring film critics who cover anyway the big festival like Cannes, Toronto, Venice, Berlin, Tribeca, etc. Why not open for them new horizon? That is the Israeli film industry.
First, I listen to my instinct, if I like what is happening on the screen or not. Second, you got to have some education to know what went before, what are the trends, and all the things are very important when you are reviewing one special title. I mean, this business almost 5 decades, almost.
My views are not typical because I'm very much interested in the cultural background of the films. That's why I love to come to the country the film comes from, to help you better to understand the stories of the films, the way they tell these stories, and also the themes, you know, why they want to speak exactly about this. Maybe you notice that all the films which we have seen here are dealing with death. This is very interesting because, of course, you have films, we have films about the death, but here it's a different because of the whole situation. And for me, with my method of cultural, coming from cultural studies, cultural anthropology, is very interesting to analyze it exactly from this point.
First thing you look for is the script, the story. And I mean, it's not essential that every film has to tell a story, but there's a vision that a filmmaker has. And what I do personally is that I try and figure out, while watching the film, what the filmmaker is trying to achieve, what he's trying to tell me or tell the world, and whether he's succeeding in doing that. So I don't go into a movie with a preconceived notion that it'll be this or that. I mean, I let the film decide it for me. So for every film I have a different set of rules. So and that set of rules is determined by the film. I make a living out of watching films. So I do nothing else, and I can't do anything else. So I just move from one screening to another, and that's how I survive.
This festival is important because of the new Israeli cinema. The other films from Cannes have been to so many other festivals. They aren't nearly as important as watching the new Israeli cinema here.
It's good to have criticism because, look, if you do a festival and nobody writes about it, you almost didn't do nothing. Bringing film critics, we help the festival expose itself to a bigger audience.
Evento que abre a mente para filmes low budget, com histórias muito fortes, outras realidades, outros talentos, e foi um sucesso. Este que é um evento cultural, um dos mais importantes de Israel, a 34ª edição do Jerusalém Film Festival. Os participantes que o digam. Sucesso!
The Jerusalem Film Festival is definitely the leading public film festival in Israel. It attracts a lot of interest from all over the world because it is Jerusalem and it is in Jerusalem, and Jerusalem has a special place in the world. So a lot of people come here, and it's for them really like a window of an option to really look into the Israeli cinema, and via this cinema to understand a lot more the soul of this country.
I love the Jerusalem Film Festival because it's in a beautiful space, very like a space full of history. It's a beautiful environment here. I think at the same time they manage with the festival here, the Cinematheque that we're standing right now, to create a safe space for film to be screened.
The Cinematheque is the home of the festival. The team of the festival, part of it is all the team of the Cinematheque that is very much involved. And we have the biggest film archive in the Middle East, and we're trying to approach new communities and go out and do events on the streets, interactive cinematic things for children, etc., etc.
It's a special festival. It's very warm not only the temperature but also the warmth of the actors, the producers, the directors, the audience, the ease by which, the closeness between filmmakers and the film viewers. And it's all like a big family of people who really love film.
I think it's very important that Jerusalem shows films that also dare to be critical about the region, about the country, about the political system.
And beyond that, to see Israel as a place that's not only in the news for negative and bad things that happen, but as a normal country with everyday life and with art and with business and traffic jams and whatever happens in a normal place.
This is a very turbulent society. It's a very turbulent country. It's a country with endless conflicts and so on. But it has so many faces and so many elements in it that the people should really get to know a little more.
Throughout the last couple of years, a lot of Israeli movies are making it to the Oscars, and Israeli actors are being or playing in big Hollywood pictures. It's Lior Ashkenazi, for instance, or we have Gal Gadot now with Wonder Woman. So it's the interesting thing is also that they
they evolved beyond just acting as the terrorist or the typecast off what was thought of an Israeli can act, and they now are becoming like generalists and just actors and not for a specific stereotype.
Cool for me is trying to dance like a real African man.
Momento agora é para a agenda cultural.
She told me her name was Billie Jean as she caused the scene. Then every head turned with eyes a dream of being the one who will dance on the floor and around. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. And mother always told me, be careful who you love. Be careful what you do, 'cause a lie becomes the truth. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. But...
Mais uma vez foi um prazer. Contribua connosco para a Agenda Cultural enviando e-mail para cultura@tvzim.com ou para o Facebook do Cooltura. Sábado, às 19 horas, marcamos encontro. E onde estaremos nós? Fique atento. Até lá, cultive a sua alma e colha felicidade.
So